The patriarchs never existed. This provocative statement challenges the very foundations of Jewish history and belief. According to the Torah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are the patriarchs from whom the Jewish people are descended. For believers, these figures are not just foundational, they are historical. Let's examine the evidence and explore whether these patriarchs were indeed historical figures or products of myth. The narratives of the patriarchs are deeply embedded in Jewish tradition. According to the Torah, Abraham, originally from Ur in Mesopotamia, was called by God to travel to Canaan. There he fathered Isaac, who in turn fathered Jacob. Jacob's 12 sons became the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel. These stories are not only religious, but are seen as historical accounts by many believers. To understand the origins of these patriarchs, we must delve into archaeology, genetics, and textual analysis. Archaeologists have long sought physical evidence to corroborate the biblical accounts. Excavations in the ancient cities of Ur, Haran, and Hebron aim to unearth remnants that might date back to the patriarchal era, around the early to mid-2nd millennium BCE. One significant finding is the discovery of ancient tablets at Nutsi and Mari, which provide context for the customs described in Genesis. These tablets, dating to around 1500 BCE, describe practices such as inheritance and marriage that parallel the Genesis narratives, lending some cultural credibility to the biblical accounts. However, genetic science has added another layer to this investigation. Studies on Jewish ancestry show that while Jewish populations share genetic markers, these are more indicative of a Middle Eastern origin rather than a direct lineage to specific individuals like the patriarchs. A 2000 study led by Dr. Harry Ostra at the New York University School of Medicine revealed that while there is a genetic continuity among Jewish populations, this does not necessarily trace back to a singular patriarchal lineage. Textual analysis also provides insights. The Torah stories were likely compiled over centuries, drawing from oral traditions. Scholars like Richard Elliott Friedman argue that these texts were written during the Iron Age, centuries after the supposed lives of the patriarchs. The documentary hypothesis suggests that multiple authors contributed to the Torah, which could account for the varying styles and perspectives within the texts. Critics often point to the lack of direct archaeological evidence as a major weakness in the claim for the patriarchs' historicity. While cities like Ur and Haran are real, no tangible evidence directly links them to Abraham. The strongest counter-argument comes from proponents of biblical minimalism, who assert that stories of the patriarchs are entirely fictional, created during or after the Babylonian exile as a means of unifying the Jewish people. Yet believers refute this by highlighting that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. For instance, William F. Albright, a renowned archaeologist, argued that the general setting of the patriarchal narratives aligns with known historical and geographical facts of the 2nd millennium BCE. He believed that the patriarchs were not entirely fictional, but were figures based on historical memory. However, this position struggles against the weight of modern evidence. The lack of direct archaeological support, combined with genetic studies that don't pinpoint a singular patriarchal origin, weakens the assertion of their historical existence. Furthermore, the documentary hypothesis undermines the idea of a single, unbroken narrative passed down from the patriarchs. In conclusion, while the stories of the patriarchs are an integral part of Jewish tradition, the evidence points to them being more mythological than historical. The combination of archaeological, genetic, and textual analyses suggests that while the patriarchs may have roots in ancient Near Eastern traditions, their existence as historical figures is unlikely. The patriarchs, as portrayed in the Torah, appear to be symbolic founders rather than historical individuals. So were the patriarchs historical figures or mythological constructs? Constructs, 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 constructs.